But still, Jaedong, yeah, I think Jaedong is going for an Ultraless build. He's building a lot of Zerglings at this point, so that probably means he's saving up gas. Either for more Guardians or Ultras, but I think it's probably more likely Ultras. Oh, almost all the Science Vessels going down there. Loses another Guardian, but it looks like Fantasy will be able to mine at that new base that he has very comfortably. Jaedong has the entire top half of the map, but Fantasy is working on taking the entire lower half. So when it comes down to each player having the same number of bases, a Zerg player definitely has the disadvantage. And yeah, like I said, if dropships keep coming into this, Fantasy is going to have the mobility on a very immobile map. Oh, Fantasy takes down every Scourge that tried to hit the Science Vessel, but he is being pushed back even more by Dark Swarm. He's being pushed back into his base here, but he still has a very sizable force.
Yeah, lost that bunker at the upper left hand. Might have even, yeah, probably lost it due to a Guardian. Probably took that out, though. Just Jaedong mostly focusing his gas units. Oh, getting some Scourge randomly killed. Missed micro there a little bit. But Fantasy just has a crap load of just Raxes up. And what I really like about the SK Terran build is that you just mostly focus on those Marines, and Sciences are your only gas heavy units. He does have some tanks on the field now because he knows he's going to need those to help with his Sunken bust, because there are a crap load of Sunkens and he doesn't just want to run with his forces head first into it, because he knows that the Guardians are now a minimal factor. He doesn't have to worry about them that much, or Mutalists. He's not going to get his tanks picked up unless he gets them surrounded by some Ultras. Oh, he did get a scan off as he saw those Ultras running down, so now Fantasy's going to be forced down a little bit. Does irradiate, loses a Science Vessel, loses a second Science Vessel. I did think he managed to irradiate some of those Ultralists, so that's a little bit of damage done. Going to force them back with his Marines. Definitely has enough forces to force those Ultras back. Jaedong does not have enough to support Fantasy with weapons too and armor too, so he's definitely ahead in that regard as well. Jaedong, let's see, armor 4 and weapons 2 on those Ultralisks, still not quite fully upgraded. Does have speed as well, so he's definitely going to be ready. He's going to start transitioning very soon. Finally managing to protect his upper left hand a little bit with that one single Guardian, because it ranges those Marines over those minerals. But Jaedong's going to have to macro up insane. You're going to have to do some, not just economic damage, but some definite troop damage, because Fantasy still, despite losing some forces, manages to macro up heavy, getting all those Medic Marines out in the field. Again, going to engage. Those Medic Marines are in position to surround all those Ultralisks. Actually has dropships to play yet again, trying to possibly build some bases. Actually, Ultralisks dropped by overlords at that base there. Scourge ready to attack the dropship. Jaedong finally trying to do some damage there, dropping Ultras to kill some Medic Marines. Dropship going to go down. Marines are not going to be able to escape. Most likely are going to lose their lives. But Fantasy is still sitting pretty. Jaedong's going to have to do something heavy with his Ultras, get some force on the ground to help support Fantasy irradiates the Defiler there. Jaedong, I still believe, definitely has a chance to get into this as long as he doesn't start losing his gas base. Again, get engaged right in the middle. Fantasy going to push Jaedong back, though. Up north, up force. Go, Telecom fighting.
Oh, be quiet. But yeah, this is when the SK Terran build really kicks in. When you start getting your upgrades up, you get a ton of Medic Marines out. And a ton of Medic Marines can just rip right through Ultralists. I mean, Ultralists, they look kind of scary, but yeah, as you can see, Jaedong running his Ultralists away. He's trying to go in here and get some damage done, but he doesn't have any Dark Swarm, so he's coming in right now with Dark Swarm, but he lost a lot of Ultras there. Finally took out another Science Vessel, and he is denying a base here from Fantasy, but Fantasy coming in, irradiating all the Ultras. If he keeps up the Science Vessel count, he's going to be able to deal with the Ultralists, no problem here. There's Ultras just hiding under the Dark Swarm. Maybe they can't see me, but a lot of Nidus Canals out here for Jaedong as well, but Jaedong has to take another base, and I don't think Fantasy is going to let it happen. Yeah, it's kind of weird. This map doesn't have a lot of maneuverability, so if you take one half of the map, you're going to find it very hard to take the other half, especially if your opponent is going for so many Medic Marines like this. It looks like Jaedong trying to surround everything here with Dark Swarm, taking out another Science Vessel. Jaedong's done a fantastic job taking out Science Vessel. I think he's going to drop back here as well. There's another Irradiate from Fantasy. And some Zerglings trying to pick at more SCVs here. So this is absolutely back and forth game. I think that Fantasy might be letting this slip out of his fingers a little bit because he's letting Jaedong get the economic harassment now. But Jaedong dropping even more back here, finally making use of his military, although I think he's losing most of it here. He's going to run out of gas. I think the double gas might actually be running low at this point. A nice plague there from Jaedong. He wants to get into that base, and nothing's going to stop him from doing it. He's going to push into that 9 o'clock and probably take it down here. He's pushing up, but he might actually let that Ultralisk go down. He's going to stop another base here. And man, this is just a grudge match. Jaedong is still fighting back here, taking out more. He's getting some more consumed there to get some more wow, Dark Swarm out here. And I can't believe the kind of harassment that Jaedong has done at this point. I'm not sure if it's going to get him back in the game. There are a lot of tanks out now, but we'll see what happens here if he can keep up this kind of Ultralisk count.
Yeah, one of the beautiful things that Jaedong has done, as you saw right there, is keep down the Science Vessel count. Keep down the Science Vessel count, and you'll be able to keep your Defilers alive, keep your Ultras alive. Jaedong just going all over the place, trying to massacre some bases. Fantasy finally needs to keep up his dropship play to continue reinforcing all of his bases, take all that stuff out. Actually lost his 9 o'clock, I believe. I think his Command Center burned out in the air. Scourge running all over the place. Now going for Fantasy's main, trying to go for his production. Meanwhile, at the 3 o'clock position, Fantasy actually has some Medic Marines. We can see what actually clears the base out. Jaedong has some Zerglings right inside the production line of Fantasies, but that's gonna get cleaned up. Jaedong gonna try to defend his 9 o'clock with a creep colony, sunken colony trade, but no, not his canal. Queen! Infested Command Center coming in from Jaedong, and he actually puts a hatchery at the 9 o'clock as well, running down south. A crap load of Ultralisks alongside some Zerglings, getting a bunch of it. Oh man, just everything getting irradiated. But Fantasy's still managing to rebuild a lot of his Science Vessels. Already has like 5, maybe even 6 in the air. Gonna defend his 9 o'clock, gonna defend 3 o'clock, gonna take 9 o'clock. Is actually gonna float Command Center where he can get those infested Terrans to some use, take down some production, take down some heavy units. But Fantasy's still managing to rebuild, still managing to force Jaedong backload. We're gonna spot that infested Command Center and go, oh, okay, so this is what I want to take out. Gonna put some tanks on the ridge to help him defend himself. Gonna lose his drop. No! Yes, is gonna lose his dropship in the process. Almost thought Jaedong let his Scourge slip right by that. But I still think this is an even game. Even despite that harass, I still think Fantasy has the advantage. I still think he's going to be able to take this game. Or we're not going to spot the Queen, going to take it down before it does any other messy things to him.
Yeah, Jaedong is kind of running out of mining at this point, I think, because Fantasy is still mining from his mineral only over there at the 9 o'clock. Jaedong is coming in with even more troops here, but going for an Ultralisk build like that, that's a very mineral intensive, it's a very gas intensive build. I mean, Fantasy can keep pumping out as many Marines as he wants, basically here, and as many Science Vessels. Science Vessels use a lot of gas, but he'll be able to get this 2 gas from each refinery here. Finally going to take out this infested Command Center. So Jaedong is probably going to try to take that 9 o'clock. That 9 o'clock and the inside 9 o'clock is pretty much it. Oh, coming in with a ton of Scourge, hitting almost every single Science Vessel going down. That was absolutely brilliant micro from Jaedong to take all those down.